I've watched a lot of romance anime, enough that I've seen trends rise, peak, and vanish. Back in the mid-2010s, Nisekoi felt like the last time a romance anime truly had everyone's attention. After that, shows came and went, each popular for a season before fading away into memory, with the more spectacular and sensational shows sticking around for a year or two more. Since Nisekoi, plenty of shows have tried to take its place, but none truly reached its level of popularity, with the sole exception of Quintessential Quintuplets and Kaguya-sama: Love is War. On the surface, all three series appear evenly matched in popularity, yet the moment we begin talking about quality, it becomes a completely different story. The highest rated entry across the Quintessential Quintuplets franchise is its second anime season, which holds a solid 8.0 rating based on votes from roughly 500,000 users on MyAnimeList. For Nisekoi, the peak comes from its first season, sitting at a respectable 7.55 based on 700,000 votes. And then there's Kaguya-sama. As of January 2026, its third season holds a staggering 8.96 rating from over 600,000 viewers. That score doesn't just crown it the highest rated romance anime on the site, it places it at the 15th highest rated anime of all time. And the dominance doesn't stop there. Every anime released from the Kaguya-sama series ranks within the top 30 romance anime ever, with 4 out of 5 landing in the top 12. This is something you almost never see. No romance series before it has held the genre in such a firm grip the way Kaguya-sama has. And while MyAnimeList is far from a perfect metric, the pattern holds across nearly every major site. Nearly everything that has come out of Kaguya-sama consistently sits near the very top of the best romance animes of all time. And with the newest OVA along with a final movie on its way, it feels as though A1 Pictures is trying to bring this series back because the demand has never really disappeared. So now we have to ask ourselves, because the question isn't so crazy anymore. Does Kaguya-sama currently stand as the greatest romance comedy anime of the 21st century? But if we're going to call anything the greatest of all time, we have to look at 3 key factors: quality and story, well-crafted characters, and longevity. So first, let's start off and talk about the first factor: quality. What you're about to see is a list of every series that has won the Shokugan Manga Award in the general category since 1990. Clearly, this award is not new. First awarded in the 1950s, it stands as one of the most prestigious honors in all of Japanese manga. As you move down this list, the names speak for themselves. Naoki Urasawa's Monster, Frieren, Dead Demon's Destruction, 20th Century Boys, Kids on the Slope, I Am a Hero, and Blue Giant. These are some of the most respected works the medium has ever produced. Out of the thousands of manga, these are the ones that have reached the peak of the medium. And whether it's through exceptional quality or distinctive originality, each one is unforgettable if you ever take the time to read it. And yet, across nearly 30 years of winners, only one rom-com has ever managed to break this lineup. Now yes, another romance series, After the Rain, won it a few years earlier, but even then, Kaguya-sama remains the only true rom-com to claim this award since Naoki Urasawa's Yawara back in 1989. And even Yawara wasn't just a romance since it was built around judo as the main premise. Kaguya-sama is not. At its peak, Kaguya-sama is nothing more than Miyuki and Kaguya sitting across from each other, locked in psychological warfare. No action, no grand stakes, and no unnecessary drama beyond two people who are terrified of being honest. And somehow, it stands shoulder to shoulder with the giants of the manga industry. The fact that something so simple could rise to that level is impressive, and honestly, it's almost unbelievable. But you don't need prestigious awards to see that Kaguya-sama is overflowing with quality. Just look at the episode ratings across all 3 seasons on Series Graph. There is not a single episode that dips below average. In fact, none of them even come close. Every episode sits at an 8 or higher, with the final arcs of each season pushing towards a near perfect 10. Few romance anime can even hope to claim that. Add in its unusually rich side characters, and not one, but 2 perfectly executed confession arcs, and the level of craftsmanship in Kaguya-sama becomes impossible to ignore. A perfect showcase of this quality can be seen in the characters, and a good place to start is the series' unofficial mascot, Chika Fujiwara. When we are first introduced to her, Akasaka presents Chika as the classic airhead, a chaotic foil to the hyper-competent geniuses that are Kaguya and Shirogane. From the very beginning, she's designed to stand out. Her pink hair, exaggerated expressions, the signature bow immediately separate her from the more grounded, realistically designed characters like Shirogane, Kaguya, Ishigami, Miko, and even Hayasaka. Everything about her presentation signals gag character, that Chika exists purely as the cute anime girl mascot you see in every one of these shows. And at first, that is exactly how she functions. But as the story unfolds, something surprising happens. Chika begins to reveal layers that go far beyond the trope she was initially introduced as. She's prideful, yet incredibly sensitive to even the weakest insults. She's innocent, but occasionally reveals a darker, more cynical worldview. She's framed as stupid, yet consistently proves herself to be frighteningly competent when it comes to the things she genuinely cares about. She has so many different sides to her that go far beyond the trope she is initially presented as. For a single character to have this much thought put into them, to have this much characterization layered into their personality, to the point where it is nearly impossible to take her traits and turn them into a template for another character without clear overlaps and echoes of Chika herself, speaks volumes about the level of quality, depth, and care in Akasaka's writing. And all of this thought is put into this one character for a very specific reason. Much like the simple airheaded trope she is originally based on, Chika's primary role in the story is to act as a foil. But because she's positioned to interact with so many different characters and to act as a foil for all of them, the result is a kind of character whose personality and identity go far beyond the stereotype she was initially typecast into. This style of writing, where every character is interconnected, constantly playing off one another, and revealing new sides of themselves through those interactions, is the foundation of what makes so many of Kaguya-sama's characters so memorable in the first place. Too often, characters, especially in rom-coms, are reduced to simple labels, but in this story, you can be the otaku guy and still be cool, and stylish, and awkward, and genuinely likable, all at the same time. But the truth is, even all of that is still not enough to make a series the greatest, which is why we have to lastly talk about longevity. Toradora and Fruits Basket are both perfect examples of what real longevity looks like. Both came out in the late 2000s, and somehow, decades later, they are still as present in the conversation as any so-called modern rom-com. Fruits Basket even returned with the full remake, and its final season now stands as among the very best romance anime ever made. Toradora, meanwhile, has survived almost entirely on pure cultural gravity and word of mouth. Longevity is the measure of how memorable and impactful an anime truly is. It's the difference between a show you enjoy once and forget about, and a story that keeps finding its way back into your conversations years later. And this is where Kaguya-sama runs into one of its uncomfortable truths. Despite only being around more recently, according to Google Trends, it's competing neck and neck for popularity with series that have been around for over 2 decades. That's not a good look. It should be doing much better. On top of that, much of Kaguya's later material is where its quality begins to slip, especially as the manga moves towards its ending. For the anime, this creates a real problem. Right now, it's an unfinished story, and if it were to be fully adapted, there's a high chance that the weaker final arcs could damage the consistency and quality that made the series so beloved in the first place. So how can something achieve the kind of lasting legacy that Toradora or Fruits Basket have if its own story hasn't even finished properly yet? Kaguya-sama doesn't quite have longevity on its side. Or does it? Because after the Stairway to Adulthood OVA, reports began to surface that Aka Akasaka and the anime staff are working on a brand new original final movie, something that, according to Akasaka himself, is supposed to be unlike anything we have ever seen before. And this is where everything hangs in the balance. Akasaka isn't exactly known for sticking the landing. He's 0 for 3 when it comes to delivering endings that match the brilliance of the stories that came before them. But if he gets this one right, if he somehow manages to give Kaguya-sama a finale that feels earned, emotional, and truly complete in order to solidify its legacy, then this series doesn't just become a great rom-com. Kaguya-sama might just become the defining romance anime of the modern era.